As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
There's nothing more predictable in life than the unexpected. Lightning will always strike. Hail will fall on roofs. Fortunately, there's AAA. AAA has been helping members stay prepared for over 100 years. So when unusual storms, fallen debris, or sudden leaks happen, you'll be covered. Check, check, and check. Get the home and auto insurance you need by talking with a AAA insurance agent today. Visit AAA.com/insurance or stop by your local AAA store.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Thoughts of suicide may feel impossible to overcome, but with help and support, you can find hope and meaning. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of He Said, She Said. I'm your host, Aggie, and with me is my co-host, the most awesome Mickey Blowtorch. How you doing, Mickey?
I am doing lovely. I am Mickey Blowtorch, and I'm coming at you live from Megan Fox's bicycle seat tonight.
You wish.
So, how are you? It's good to talk to you again. It's been another 2 weeks.
I know, it has been so long. But I can't get over it. Last time it was so great having your girl on. It was just awesome. Oh. I miss her. I'll be honest.
I miss you too. She's been talking about you since the episode aired, and she had such a really good time with you. It's making me a little nervous.
You should be.
I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Actually, I was thinking about taking a trip out to El Paso because I have friends that live there. Okay. My mom and dad used to live there for a time, and so we made friends out there. And they've invited all of us to go visit and everything. So I might just do that now that I have someone else to like run around with. So this would be cool.
It would be a great idea. And yeah, anytime you come over, just let us know, and we'll get out there, have some drinks and some good food.
I will dress like Peg Bundy. Just please
do. Do that as well. What have you been doing the last 2 weeks? Let's hear the art update.
Oh well, as you know, I'm still painting rocks and leaving them to be found, and I entered another contest, and I'm waiting to hear who won the contest. It's for this local company that does flavored popcorn. And so they wanted to have their own little mini rock painting contest type of thing going. So I entered. I'm waiting to hear whether or not I won. I doubt it, but it'd be kind of cool if I did because it's $50 worth of gourmet popcorn, and their popcorn is fantabulous. They have barbecue flavor, Texas Roadhouse flavor. They have all sorts of neat stuff.
What do you suppose a Texas Roadhouse tastes like?
It's a steak flavoring that they use there, and so
It doesn't taste like Waitresses.
I hope not. I hope it's not the peanut shells in the floor. I hope it's not that either. That would be really bad.
All of the flavors from Texas Roadhouse in your mouth in a convenient popcorn size.
Ew. Okay, now I don't want to eat it.
I can paint a picture like Bob Ross, let me tell you what.
Happy little accident.
Yeah, let's just paint another happy little waitress. She needs a still beer.
Yes, she does.
So, you painted me a special rock, which
yes, I did. Yes, I did. I remember that you liked that moon and compass style rock that I had painted before. So I found the perfect rock for it, and I did that. And let me tell you, that compass was killing me because I was doing it freehand, but it had to be as even as possible. And I'm an idiot for not doing a sketch beforehand.
I
came out pretty good.
The way it turned out, it's beautiful. I showed the girlfriend yesterday when you showed me, and she's like, "Oh my God, that is so cute!" I'm like, "Oh, Aggie's a doll." And
yeah, so, I have to make her one too, so I can send them both at the same time.
You know what? If you did that, she would just absolutely be beside herself. She adores you so much.
Be afraid, Mickey. Be very afraid.
You know what? I don't even want to entertain the ideas that are jumping around in my mind right now. Your unholy allegiance with each other. I knew I shouldn't have agreed to do that interview last week, or the last show. I mean.
Oh, too funny.
So
so I've been doing that, and I finally finished my coffee table, which you saw.
Oh, it was gorgeous. I retweeted that. If you guys want to go scroll through my sewer of tweets, I did do a nice retweet from her coffee table. And it looks like it's maybe 70s. There's something similar in my father's house with that dovetail wood that I noticed around the border of that.
Yeah, it's a Lane Acclaim series table. That's the style. And it was, I think it was introduced late 50s, 58, 59. Somewhere about there, and it was very popular up until about 68. That's when it was they stopped producing that particular style, but they had a lot of stuff, a lot of different pieces of furniture in that series, but there were some pieces that were done only 1 year, so those are very rare and hard to come by. But yeah, so I got lucky but she had like painted it in this late gray latex paint and then gold paint on top of it on the feet, and I was
paint that you stripped that I thought looked like weed.
Yes,
it really looked like weed. I'm not gonna lie.
The worst part about that whole thing was
house. Look at that. And I'm like, that's stripped paint. I was disappointed. I'll be honest.
Well, the worst part about that whole thing, I don't know what the worst part was. It was either the fact that everybody thought it was weed, or that I was such a noob that I had no idea what weed looked like.
Party on, Aggie.
I'm telling you, man. I have lived under a rock most of my life.
Well, you haven't lived next door to...
It's a pretty rock.
Painted rock. Yes. So we've got a pretty awesome show lined up tonight. This is our Father's Day extravaganza. So I think in the first half hour, I actually have a present for all the fathers out there. We're going to be talking about boobies, tits, boobs. So that's my contribution to all the fathers out there. And then in the bottom part of the show, Aggie's going to be discussing with me, of course. What was your idea? What did you have in store?
Really neat and interesting Father's Day gifts, and really, really sad fails.
I'm looking forward to the sad fails. I want to see those hot messes. I hope you got some good ones.
Oh yeah.
So I know you were around this weekend, and this is what actually started the whole boob thing. Was I had a Twitter poll about which decade had the most awesomest titties.
Yes,
and I put together 3 decades that I could think of iconic boobs, and that was going to be the 70s, 80s, and 90s, because post 90s everything kind of went artificial. So I thought, and I probably should have thrown in the 50s and the 60s, but really I think titties started in the 70s, in my humble opinion. And I've actually got a surprise for everybody. We've got a surprise guest tonight, a subject matter expert, if you will, who's going to be discussing the evolution of titties with us.
I'm trying so hard to keep us straight.
Let me go ahead and get him in here real quick. And let's get the subject matter expert's opinion. We're dialing right now.
As I recall.
Hello,
Scott. How you doing, brother?
what's going on, Mickey?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Dr. Scott, a good friend of mine and a fellow barbecue and smoking enthusiast who happens to be a plastic surgeon, and we're going to be talking about the evolution of titties.
Oh boy.
It's nice to meet you, Scott.
Nice to meet you, Aggie. And by the way, I'll throw it out now. You don't follow me, but I will, we'll won't hold it against you.
Oh my goodness. I'm really bad about.
I know.
I know. I hide in DM. Mickey will tell you. I tell them all the.
Well, after this, you're going to have to follow me. So
I promise I'll rectify it.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Scott is not just another pretty face, Aggie.
That's correct.
He's got smarticles.
I'm not sure about that either.
Were you able to bring yourself a cocktail to the table?
I did. I was thinking about a vodka, but I decided on the beer. And my son is he's a college student now, and probably my proudest moment was the fact that he had a fake ID, and he brought it home, and he was able to buy us beer tonight. So happy about that. Thank you, Jackson.
Mickey Blowtorch approves of your son. That's badass.
He's awesome.
So thank you. So what kind of beer?
It is Coors Yellow Belly. That's all they drink in Colorado. He goes to CU Boulder, so.
Nice. Which I think is a category of titties, by the way.
Yeah, could be.
So I'm drinking a Tecate this evening, which is a unusual choice for my typical Bud Light. And Aggie, what do you have?
I am having a special edition of Shiner's Blonde, which is this one is aged in wine barrels. So It tastes pretty cool.
Well, I like Shiner. It's good.
I love a brunette with a blonde.
Like I said, I have around you. I have to clarify all the time because it gets me in trouble if I don't.
Yeah.
So, as we're talking about, back to the nuts and bolts of this particular conversation this week, you were aware of that poll that I had that featured the titties of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I was looking at Google Images while I was doing that poll of the different eras of the titty. And what I was really fascinated in is they look so alien from each other from decade to decade on a natural level. I was wondering if you could provide some insight on the natural evolution of the female titty, and then possibly go into how the actual industry, which you're intimately familiar with, since you're the subject matter expert and the badass plastic surgeon, of how the artificial titties evolved.
Well, wow, that is a really broad subject you got going there, Mickey, but thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know that the anatomy has changed all that much. I think our perception of what is, what we think as, sexy or beautiful, I think that has changed. But I don't necessarily think the evolution has changed very much. But on the implant side of things, that has changed dramatically, right? I mean, we started off. So first of all, the dude that invented this thing was a guy by the name of Thomas Biggs.
Oh.
And yeah. And this cat's out of Houston, and this is in the 60s.
Okay.
And he's kind of the first guy. I've actually met the guy. He's a really good guy. But those implants, they started off really small, and it's sort of the grass is always greener kind of thing, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Did it start off strictly cosmetic?
So it's both ways, so it started off cosmetic in one fashion, but we also started using it for breast reconstruction. So, after a mastectomy for breast cancer, the only real way to reconstruct somebody was with their own tissues. And then we started, back in the 60s and 70s, able to use an implant to reconstruct them, and both ways have their pluses and minuses. But so it kind of goes both ways. You can go a reconstruction route, or you can go an aesthetic route. And I've done both. I started off with a lot of reconstruction, and then as the years progressed, I started doing a lot of aesthetic. But I'll tell you that the evolution of that, I've been in practice for about 20 years. The evolution has been, I started off really small, and and then, then the patient would come in and go, "This is crazy. I didn't pay you, $5,000 to do this. I want bigger." So, okay. So we go a little bit bigger, and then you didn't want to make people pissed off. So you start going bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. And it's crazy. That's the way it was. And I think if you talk to a lot of plastic surgeons that do what I do, that's kind of their evolution, is that, you start off really small, and then people beat you over the head for a few years, and then you're like, screw it, I don't care. Let's go big. And then the problem is that if you go really big, you can run into some problems, So I would say over the last 10 years, I've gone the other way, So
we're going back.
That's kind of evolution. Yeah. So it kind of goes back to what my wife calls lovingly the sporty boob. It's not something that's going to get in the way. You can go jogging, or you can do your yoga, or you can play golf. The sporty boob.
Okay.
So that's what we do. Sporty boobs.
I noticed
that's what we do. Sport.
In my research of the boobs, I noticed that the 80s seemed like we were going in a sporty boob direction. We were coming down from like the big old saggy naturals from the 70s and 80s. The Bridget Bardots, if you will.
Right.
Then we ended up in like a smaller of a Ginger Lynn kind of a category.
Yes.
Where they weren't going to punch her in the eye, but she could still, make an impression.
Right. Yes.
And we're going back, and that route is trending again?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely towards the smaller end. So, and it's really where you are in the country. So the South and Texas in general sort of prefer sort of the bigger implants. And this has actually been studied, they prefer the bigger implants, and used to be the West Coast as well. That was really, sort of the area that really started off with the bigger implants. California has really, the West Coast has actually kind of tamed that down a little bit, and we're, back down towards the smaller end of the spectrum on breast implants. I think Texas is probably one of the last bastions of, sort of the bigger implants in the country, Well,
everything's bigger here.
I know what you're going to say.
Not your hostess, though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of been the trend. But, I'll tell you, a lot of places now, it's sort of on the, especially on the East Coast, is that really small implants. Like, I would not dream of putting those implants in or that small. I mean, my patients would knock me over the head if I put in the size of implants that they're using on the East Coast.
What are we doing? A's or B's or? Yeah,
so we measure implants in cc's, right, or milliliters, right?
Sure. Like an engine.
Yeah, like exactly like a
engine of
displacement on an engine, right?
Well, if stroked right, it'll purr. So.
Oh my God.
Look, I have very little to contribute here.
Oh, come on, Aggie. We need to get you down to my office, Aggie, and we'll take care of this, and we'll figure out a good, like a big, like a big block or something, Big block Chevy.
Oh my goodness, y'all have no idea how red I am right now.
Same here. And I don't blush usually when I'm talking.
Yeah. So normally, we go by cc's, right? So
okay,
an average for me would be somewhere in the 400 to 500 cc implant per side.
Can you
say
that handfuls?
Wait, what?
Would it be like a 2-handful, Teddy, or I'm having a hard time visualizing the CCs, but I get what you.
What is it? 500, like about the size, like 8 ounces or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty close. It's hard for me to think in ounces. I really don't think in ounces anymore. But yeah, I would say like a 400 cc would be like maybe a small softball.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere in that range would be, and that's sort of my average. I would say on the East Coast, it's half that, like 200 cc's. Like it's just
tennis ball.
So like hockey puck.
Okay.
Hockey puck-ish, right?
So does this play directly into fashion right now?
I have no idea. I think it's preference. I think it's one of those things that you get a certain population of plastic surgeons in certain areas, and I don't know. I mean, it's like girls talk. They go to the bathroom. They're like, hey, look at this, and who did that? And what size is that? I mean, I'll have women that come in that know the CCs that they want. So like, I want a 480 cc high profile, smooth round silicone gel implant. I'm like, okay.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Damn. They did the research.
Absolutely.
Well, which is smart, because if you're going to do something invasive like that, you should know what the hell you're talking about and want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of it's good, but then some of it's like, this is what my sister has, or this is what my neighbor has, and that's what I want, and so some of that can be a little detrimental,
So you've got a neighborhood full of Stepford titties then.
Right. Exactly. They're all the same.
I'm in the wrong business, man. I tell you what, if you ever have a journeyman position available, let me know. Call me up. I'll drop everything.
Well, what's your background, Mickey? Let me, can you please send in a resume, and maybe we could talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how it's going to translate very well. I worked military intelligence for a while. It probably won't fit in. I'm better at squeezing than I am at anything else. So, juggle, you know what I mean?
I guess.
Our program, we could figure something out.
Well, so at the 2-week mark, after every surgery that we do, we actually have to start the massaging. So we do have a course on that, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's a position.
I will pay you.
I don't show them how to do it. I have my staff do it. So we could maybe dress you up and put you in a white coat. I
like it, Dr. Mickey.
Yeah.
I
say we do Dr. Blowtorch.
Dr. Blowtorch. Your patients will love that shit. Somebody in the chat room just said Mickey is quality assurance. I think that's a
so
Yeah, I think this could actually cost me my career.
Yeah, well, let's not go that route. I wouldn't want to jeopardize, you doing a beautiful thing for the nation.
Right.
Beautification.
I do have a question about that. I noticed that there are some, in some instances, specifically when there's a woman who has undergone a mastectomy and wants reconstructive surgery, that the type of implant, it looks different. It's like it's not just that little globule of saline. It's shaped in a different manner. And I was wondering if women can now pick the type of implant that they want done.
Oh, absolutely. So there is literally thousands of different sizes and profiles and shapes of implants today. I mean, literally thousands. So a lot of it boils down to the surgeon's preference. But they'll oftentimes will give you lots of choices. And typically with a reconstruction, you will have a shaped device, because you have nothing else. All you have is skin, right? So you have no breast anymore, so you just really have skin. So you want to have sort of that, what we call a teardrop shape.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Teardrop. So that, gives you some kind of form, but it's never like a breast augmentation, right? I mean, because, breast augmentation is taking a normal breast and just augmenting it and, making it look good. Reconstruction is totally different. I mean, it's like apples and oranges, but implants have come a long way in making that, a much better process for women, for sure.
Another question that I have before Mickey comes in with his savviness.
Uh-oh.
It's just, I know skin being the largest organ in the body, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
When you're augmenting that area, I mean, there's just so much skin that you have to work with. And how do you talk women down from something of a ridiculous size? I mean, because I'm sure that there's some women that go in there and they want basketball, and it's just not going to happen.
No, here's what I do, Aggie. I mean, I don't talk anybody down. I sterilize my foot, and then, I kind of just use my foot to cram them in there really, really hard. So it stretches it that. Oh, I'm just joking. Yeah, no. So we actually, we actually take some measurements and things like that will, we'll keep it all in check. So my deal today is, I don't let people get crazy on me because I've seen the problems, Mm-hmm. So, and the biggest problems is when somebody really wants to go large, so my whole deal is, if they're crazy like that, I just get rid of them. I don't want that as a patient. So I'll take specific measurements and I'll say, look, this is the biggest I'm going to go. And I'll kind of show you what that's going to be like, but this is it, and if you don't want it, then, adios. So,
that's better than having the liability on your hand too. Do you guys do psychological screening and things like that? I used to be a fan of the show Nip Tuck. Man, I loved that shit when I was in my 20s. And I know they had like a resident psychiatrist and all of that shit. So do you make sure that everybody like passes a mental background, I guess? Or
yeah, I'm the resident psychiatrist. Damn it, I'm the one that has to decide whether or not they're freaking crazy or not. And we actually have, So do you remember the old Van Halen album 5150?
Of course.
Right. So, well, do you know what that means, right? 5150. No. Yeah, it means crazy, right? On the cop, the cop, whatever.
I got you.
Right. So we actually had a code back in the day, and the girls would be like 5150. She's out there. So I would be aware of it, and then we'd be like, okay, we can't operate on that. So we do have a screening process, but it's really through me. And, and I always tell people I can size up somebody pretty quickly because I have to decide within about, 10, maybe 12 minutes, if I want to operate on this person and, put my name on it and everything. And, and it takes it. It's a process. I don't always win, but there's a lot of times where I'm like, no, we're done. Get rid of them somehow.
I do have a question related to that particular subject. I know that sometimes women are referred to have breast augmentation because their self-esteem suffers so, and behavioral medicine will refer them to have that done. And so I balance that because sometimes some women are kind of like crazy about it and other people are like not so crazy, but still needed. I don't know.
No, totally. Look, I would say a good 80% of what I do is women that are uncomfortable with the way they look outside of a bra. So they either have some sort of asymmetry, or, they breastfed, and so they've got, what we call atrophy, where, the breast tissue just sort of goes away. Something that they don't feel comfortable about. It's rare. It's rare that I get somebody that has, great looking breasts that come in and say, hey, I would like a breast augmentation. It just doesn't happen. It's somebody that usually has a problem or some issue that they have that they don't feel comfortable about, that an implant can easily fix. And I'll tell you what, I've seen so many women that have their whole attitude changes when we get done. They're like, they're this little shy, and, they got their head down and their hair over their breasts, and I'm like, having to move them out of the way and move their shoulders back to examine them. Then they come back, and 6 weeks later, and they're like, throwing off their gown. What do you think? Doc. So
I've actually had that happen with a cousin of mine who had an augmentation. And okay, just to clarify again, she's an exotic dancer, so she wanted something that was more out there and everything. So she had a breast augmentation done, and when she was done, we were at a family reunion. And she just yells at me, Aggie, come here. I want to show you something. And I'm like, what? And she drags me to the restroom and takes off her shirt and her bra. Look at, aren't they not great? And I'm like, girl, you're naked in front of me. What are you doing?
It's crazy, isn't it?
She was so happy and so proud of, and I, objectively, I will say he did fabulous work. You could not see the scarring or anything. It was
right.
Really well done. But outside of that, I'm having my cousin stand naked in front of me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, I've actually walked, to the front part of my office, past the waiting room, and I've seen women like open their shirts and lifting up their bras in the damn waiting room. It's like, oh my God, what is going on out there? Like, this isn't a strip show, guys. Calm this shit down. It's just,
I have made the wrong life decisions, obviously. I'm out. Hey, you can open this entire conversation.
You're still young, Mickey. You're still young, dude.
I've got a question about the nipples. And we're gonna have to hit a break soon. Are you cool to hang out with after the break?
Sure.
Cool. My question before we go on break, and I know we got one coming up, but I do know, like with the mastectomies and a lot of other medical particular issues where they have to, you were talking about reconstructing the entire breast, and usually they go to like tattooed nipples. Is there anything on the forefront of moving beyond tattoos? Because I know that's a huge a thing too. You want a real nipple, something that looks real, and then the tattoos sometimes doesn't cut it with a lot of the folks that don't have those anymore.
Correct. Yeah. So we actually, for years and years, we've been doing what we call a skin flap. And so we take skin and fat and kind of twirl it around and actually make a nipple, and then we tattoo the areola around that. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I think it gives them a nice sort of, just sort of, what I call the cherry on the top, right? You've done all this they've had the mastectomy, they've gone through their chemotherapy, and, now we're doing an implant, and we wait a little while. We have to do what we call a tissue expander sometimes, where we expand it all out. It's this long process. It takes like a year, 6 months. And, it's a process. And then, the final thing is we, make them a nipple and tattoo an areola, and, it's sort of the end of their journey, I'll tell you what we tried to do in the past. This was probably, I was a resident about 25 years ago. What we would do is when we were doing the mastectomy, we would take off the areola and the nipple in one, and we would make it as a skin graft. So we'd put it sort of down in their, sort of their thigh region and make it as a skin graft. And just keep it there.
The nipple would be down on the thigh, just like
just sitting there, right?
Like on life support.
Yeah, so you just keep it there, and then you do your reconstruction, and then at the end of it, you'd make, then you'd bring it back up and make that a skin graft up top. And it was great. It worked great until somebody got cancer down in their thigh.
Oh shit! Oh my god!
Right. So like, that's not a great idea. So we abandoned that. But
I would be able to quit pinching my thighs.
Right.
Oh, that was bad. On that note, we should probably go to commercial.
Yes.
Maybe we should. It's time for me to grab another beer, I think.
Excellent. Beer break, everybody. We'll be right back after these messages.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
And we are back with more titties, or at least titty talk.
Breasts. We call them breast, Aggie.
Well, I know, but I mean, most guys don't.
I want to be a doctor that never uses clinical terms.
Correct.
Dr. Blowtorch said my titties were perfect. I can't stop laughing. This is like the best sophomoric show ever. And it's interesting because you're bringing in a total professional scientific side to it.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, I showed my girlfriend your photo earlier today, and she wants a consultation, apparently.
Perfect.
I don't know what you're doing over there.
Perfect. We can make that happen. Blowtorch.
Absolutely. Well, you know, in a funny way, how I met Dr. Scott was I made a joke on Twitter about Botoxing my ball sack.
I cannot with you right now. Oh, my God.
That's how I met Dr. Scott. Yeah.
Hell of a consult.
He told me to stop by anytime I was feeling froggy.
Wait, Aggie. This was all over Twitter. He didn't actually come in, and I didn't Botox his scrot. I mean, I promise.
No. That would be unethical. Or did people do that?
Oh, my God.
I haven't seen Mickey's scrot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the night's young.
I was just thinking of something, you know, we could get super smooth so I could kind of wax it and give it a sheen. Can we do that? You know, like shiny leather.
You know.
I think Aggie would be better suited to answer that question than me, to be honest.
I'm just hoping that they open up confessional soon, because with Mickey as a co-host, I need to go to confessional like once a week.
Well, you did strip that table this weekend. It'd be very similar to that.
I'll do before and afters on Twitter. We'll call my sack.
Dear God.
Okay. All right.
Back to the matter at hand before I keep fucking around with stupid jokes. We were talking about the nipple reconstruction, which was really cool. I had no idea you guys were surrogating nipples on thighs. That
only happened for a little while.
Thank goodness. But that makes total sense because cancer cells spread, you know?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
True.
What would you say is the average titty size on in the American Southwest, the little region that you and I reside around?
What are the cc's of the implants?
Yeah, just the average. What do you think the average is down in this area?
I would say where I live is a little bit more conservative than, say, Dallas and Houston. I talked to some of my colleagues that are in Dallas, Houston, Oklahoma City. One of my good friends lives up there, and the sizes of implants those guys use are way bigger than what I use. Like to the tune of like almost double what I use. It's crazy. But it's just what people want. I mean, and at some point you have to say, well, am I going to give them what they want, or am I going to give them what I think they want? And how much beating am I going to take afterward?
Oh, that's got to be nerve-wracking, dude. How do you go through that? Because obviously, people's physical expectations of themselves are so high and so important. Like, I can't tell you how many haircuts I've gotten. I'm like, they fucked that shit up. So, but when you do something different like titties, and they come in and they're like, "What the fuck is this?" How often do you go?
Yeah. What time is it?
45.
Dude, it's. I mean, it's every hour, every minute of every day. It's all about managing expectations, and I've gotten better. I've gotten better with it, but it's that. I mean, because you think about it, is you're taking something that's completely normal, most of the time. I mean, normal in the sense that there's no problem with it, other than maybe perhaps some asymmetry or the way it looks, whatever. And
Sure.
and now you're spending, $5,000. You're taking time off of work. So there's all these what's that?
It's an unpleasant procedure too. I mean,
absolutely.
Anything invasive, it can't be fun. So you're suffering through pain to better yourself physically. I could only imagine that unreasonable expectations are so high.
So the first appointment, they're okay because they made it through it and they lived. And, they're all happy, and then you check them, everything's good. The problem, they come back at the 2-week appointment, 3-week appointment, and they're still not feeling so great, and things still look bad. They still have some tape, and they're still having some pain. They don't feel good. That's when you really got to sit down and and really talk to him and say, hey, okay, this is normal. This is normal what you're feeling. I know you want to kill me. Don't do that. But but we have a system. I mean, we operate on probably, I don't know, somewhere close to 500 patients a year. And,
okay.
So we have a system so we can deal with it. And every once in a while we'll get hit over the head with somebody that really goes off the rails. But for the most part, we can deal with it within our system, but it took a long time.
I bet. And that would be a really hard thing for, me to do personally and see like disappointment and anguish. But what I'm thinking you could do for your practice is just bring me in and be like, and just to solidify my point, I'm going to bring in my colleague Mickey and I'll be like, honey, those are some nice ass titties. And then I'll just leave the room. I'll just say that, leave the room. I think that's brilliant. And then I'll give him the finger guns.
And the wink.
Yeah, the wink.
I'm thinking that gift that you use, where you kind of, you throw your arms out, like, you give them the guns and throw your arms out. I think that'd be perfect.
It's glorious. We could sit down and talk about this later. Speaking of sitting and talking down, when are we going to smoke out with some grilling and whatnot?
I don't know. Let's do it. I'm ready. Have you
used that smoker yet?
What's that?
Have you used your new smoker yet?
Oh yeah, dude. I've had it about going on about a year now.
Okay.
And yeah, and I don't get to use it as much as I want, but man, I love that thing. So I'd love to break it out and smoke it all day.
Let's plan a day where we can come over or whatever and day drink and smoke something, man.
Let's do it. Where's the Aggie live? The Aggie come down?
She could.
I could. I'm only.
Well, don't you have folks in El Paso or something like that, Aggie?
Well, my parents used to live in El Paso, but I have friends that live there. So, which is why I'm threatening Mickey with like hounding him.
Call the police.
Let's do it.
I'm totally down, dude.
I will let you guys know when I make my way out there. I actually love the drive on I-10. I take I-10 straight from. I live up north of San Antonio, so I drive west and then hook up to I-10 and then just take it. It's just, for me, it's a fabulous drive. I love it. Most people are like, oh my gosh, this is so boring because there's nothing there. But I mean, to me, that expanse is just awesome. So I never minded driving out there. My sisters all thought it was like pulling teeth. Me, I'm like, I got my basket of goodies with me. I got my sodas. I'm ready to go.
It's a long drive, kid.
Oh, it is.
It's about 9.5, 10 hours, I think, for me.
Yeah.
So it was
cool.
I had a text message just come in with a question for Dr. Scott.
Okay.
Somebody wants to think what you think about puffers.
What the hell is that?
What?
Well, think of the puffy nipples. Yeah. This is from my friend Steven. He wants to know about the puffers.
So what that is breast actually herniating through what we call the nipple urethra complex. So it's actually a condition. It's very common, actually. So what it is, though, is breast tissue. So normally you have sort of this connective tissue that keeps your breast tissue from coming through that, what we call the nipple urethra complex. And what the puffy nipple is that's gone. And so it's coming through what we call herniating through. And we can actually fix that with an implant pretty nicely. So somebody has that and they don't like it, we can fix it.
Damn.
The weird thing is some guys like that. I mean, I don't know. I think it was kind of weird.
Back in the day, I'm like, I could see puffy nipples on that chick. You know?
No.
It was never in my opinion. And then you got the eraser nipples. That's an entire other podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a bi-monthly talk about different kinds of nipple sizes and breast shapes, and I mean,
you can get your calipers out.
This podcast is taking a turn, y'all.
It is. So, Dr. Scott, you and I are going to hang out soon. I think we've got a date to go to the bar together. And
let's do it.
Going to totally do that, bro.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Before you go, you have to tell us what your worst Father's Day present has ever been.
Oh, yes.
The worst one. Cringeworthy.
I'd have to say it was a bad tie. I mean, like it was shitty, like really shitty. I mean, like I was like, guys, I mean, like I don't even wear ties. I mean, I haven't worn a tie in since 10 years. And then they come up with a tie. And I'm like, guys, I don't even wear a tie. So I guess they must have watched a commercial or some bullshit, like.
Dad wants a tie.
Dad wants a tie, yeah. What's yours?
Well, I've never had kids, so maybe that.
Well, what's the worst one you've given then?
Oh, the worst. Well, I used to do shit like, I'm going to buy this fucking cool-ass Himikuta model and build it for my dad and give that to him as his present. I was like, yeah. Like, Dad would totally love if I built him this Himikuta. I was a fucking asshole. Your dad built you this Himikuta model. I had so much fun building it.
Oh, man. That sounds good. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it, man.
And hit me up soon. We're
going to get having you here, Scott. Thank you.
Hey, Nagy, I'm gonna like hit you up. You need to follow me on Twitter, man. Don't be such a snobby snob.
I did. I followed you.
Okay.
Check it.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna check it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Scott. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Adios,
brother.
All right. See you guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
What a really cool guy.
That was a great educational episode.
I tell you what, I hit him up like 2 hours before the show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll totally fucking do that." I'm like, that's cool. Really good time with him. We live close to each other. We're gonna hook up and have some barbecue and some drinks.
Awesome. That's great. So I have more friends in El Paso. This is great. It's turning into a party. We should have a total get together up there.
Well, I'm sure Lori's already freaking out downstairs. He's coming over.
So, moving on, we were going to cover Father's Day fails.
Father's Day fails. I've already got my favorite Father's Day fail.
What's that?
Oh, well, introduce your segment. I was just getting prepared. Jeez.
Well, no, I was looking up on Amazon because sometimes they have like a Father's Day gift selection and stuff like that, and they had some really cool ideas. Some were kind of quirky. One of the things that I saw that was really interesting was a wooden beard comb.
What?
Yes, it's wooden, and it's a beard comb, and it's specifically made for beards, but it's made from wood, and it folds in like a switchblade. It's really cool. I could never use it on my hair. It's like the grooves are specifically made for beard hair, I guess.
The spring beard comb.
Yeah, and the prices range anywhere between $26 and $32. So for the dad in your life that likes to have a very nicely combed beard, this would be a really cool gift to give him. And I saw this and I said, I am so tempted to get this just because of what it is. It's a bacon and bourbon scented candle. And I'm like,
ooh, that's got potential to smell bad though.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to get one just to test it out to see whether or not this would actually be. And I get the feeling that it's going to smell more like bacon than bourbon, because bourbon doesn't have that strong of a taste when you open the bottle. I mean, you actually have to lean in to smell it, whereas bacon, you you start making bacon and the entire house smells of bacon.
Oh, for like 2 days, including all of your clothes in the closet.
Yeah, so there's that. So, but I thought that was kind of cool. I just don't see giving a dad a candle for Father's Day.
Well, he's probably not going to be soaking in the tub. I'm just going to
no.
There. After a long day, I like to get in the tub and just
one really cool thing that I saw was that they had a huge selection of subscription boxes for men. And I had done the show with LL at the beginning when we did Podcast Divided about subscription boxes for women, but I never really looked into guys, and they have some really cool ones. One's called the Gentleman's Box, and what it is accessories for men. So there's a tie, and there are socks, and there's a pocket square, and maybe a tie clip or something like that. But they're all geared towards your wardrobe, so it's pretty cool.
And there were boxes. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are the ones that you pay like a monthly fee for, and you get like a new box of different shit like every month.
Yeah, and it depends on some are every 3 months, some are every month. This one happens to be every month. So I have
a friend that did that with weed. He had like a pot smoke subscription box, and sent like 2 different kinds of joint wrap, papers, and cleaning solutions and whatnot.
I wouldn't know, Mickey. I didn't even know what it looked like. Okay.
Well, I'm not faulting you for that, but you have a scholarship to the Mickey School of Education, which
yes, I do.
Is always there.
I think the best subscription box that I saw was actually something that you could give women also, and it's called Hunt a Killer. I'm not even making this up. It's called Hunt a Killer, and what it is, they send you a box. It comes in. There's 6 boxes. 6 episodes, and you start with a mystery, and each box is designed for you to I guess eliminate one of the suspects.
I think I saw this advertised, and don't you have to?
By the time you get the 6th box, you solve the mystery, and then it starts all over again. They work on a new mystery, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would be like so all over that. That is like. That box was made for me.
What if we tried that together and then talked about it on the podcast and got maybe the listeners involved in the same mystery, and we could have weekly discussions? That'd be kind of cool. And
that would be cool. I'll send you the link. But that one really stood out, and it's not very expensive, about $35 a month, but it gives you all of the information. It gives you the synopsis of where you're at and all that stuff. It's really cool the way it's done. Personally, cool. I prefer to do that than watch another season of Forensic Files. So
I would be willing to give it a try for the hell of it. One of the when we were asking our listeners about the Father's Day fails, my most favorites were actually by Vincent Charles.
Yes.
And if you're so great with Vincent Charles, he is at YesThatVCharles on Twitter. And he said, in response to our inquiry of what are the worst Father's Day gifts you've ever had, he said, and I quote, Jesus, where do I start? You got a high karate gift set, which sounds just absolutely horrendous. A horribly camouflaged digital watch that actually said Army on it. He is a veteran. So I'm imagining like, the little woodland camo and it just says Army. But my most favorite, it says a slob-sized bottle of Mr. Boston vodka. What the fuck is Mr. Boston vodka? I've been laughing at that shit all day long. It sounds like an abomination.
I've only heard about Mr. Boston vodka, and I've never heard anything nice about it.
It has to come like in a gallon plastic jug, is what I'm guessing.
Yes.
With a handle. Mr. Boston. Who the fucking Boston knows anything about vodka?
But yeah, I gotta give him credit though. I mean, he also got high karate aftershave, and that is like, I was laughing all day about that because I remember that stuff back in the 70s and early 80s, and it was, I think my friends would. It was about the only thing. It was okay. It was on par with like Aqua Velva and Brute. But my friends in school, when they started shaving, would get the high karate because it had cool commercials.
The dudes or the girls?
The dudes.
Okay.
And I have to differentiate. I have to clarify with you.
You always have.
So they would get the high karate because they had really cool commercials with this guy doing karate to keep the women off of you because it smells so good. Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't smell good.
So was it the 70s version of Axe body spray?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's one of the. I think they
totally it. That's exactly what it was, and it was awful because you had 4 or 5 of these young men in the same classroom wearing this stuff, and it would permeate everything. It was just awful, and they would not. It was on par with the 2 that I mentioned in price range, but those 2 that I mentioned were used by their fathers, and they didn't want to use what their fathers were using. They wanted something hip and cool, right? So that's where the high karate came from, and
when I read the word high, though, I hear it in my mind like high karate. Like, it kind of changes the dynamic slightly.
No, I hear it as in high karate.
No, not me. You're very, very flamboyantly.
Yes. But that was, I mean, when he mentioned that, I said, that has got to be the quintessential bad gift for Father's Day. I mean, it beats ties, it beats socks, it beats slippers, it beats everything.
His laundry list of shitty Father's Day gifts were better than anything. And I don't think he's in the chat anymore. I hope he's still listening because it was so glorious when he sent that tweet of the worst Father's Day because it exceeded any expectation I ever had of it. Even like building my dad a plastic model of some car. The Mr. Boston vodka alone just sounds atrocious.
It is.
Oh my God!
I'm pretty sure he won.
Absolutely. I'll personally message him and let him know that that's just absolutely ridiculous. Some guy said the worst thing he ever got was nothing. That kind of made me sad. Yeah, I was really shitty at giving my dad gifts growing up, but who isn't? I think it's kind of a normal thing.
I told you about the time that my mom decided to buy gifts in our names, and she decided on ties and took us all to the store, and we all picked out a tie for my dad. So he got 4 ties that Father's Day. And this man who hates getting clothing for any occasion, he's very picky. He will buy his own clothes. Thank you very much. And so he waited like 20 years, and one Christmas, he gifted them all back to us in our stockings.
That man is the most smartest man I've ever heard of.
He's a legend.
Just the long game on that prank alone is incredible.
It was. You should have seen our faces when we were opening the stockings. And there's this little roll at the very bottom, and we thought, oh, maybe, we thought it was like, I thought it was like a film canister or something like that, but it was a little too fat, and my sister thought it was money rolled up like that. I'm going, my parents don't roll up money like that. Come on, you're not getting that much money. And so I get it out, and mine, I happen to have given him this one in a wine color with these dark green roses on it. I mean, it was ugly. Any decade ugly. Okay, I don't think this tie didn't fit in any decade. And so I take it out and I'm like, oh my God, you still have these? Everybody's taking theirs out. And he says, yes, now I'm giving them back to you.
That is beautiful. Absolutely glorious.
He is something else. But, he's always been picky about, and I'm always careful, and I ask him straight. I was like, Dad, is there anything that you want for Father's Day? Not anything that you need, because he also doesn't want to get something that he needs. He wants to get something that he wants. He wants something frivolous or fun. And so the past few years, I have just given him a gift card to Best Buy because that's when he's the happiest.
But I do the same thing to my father with Home Depot. I'll be like, Pop, what do you want? Oh, I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I'm a blah, blah, blah. My dad's like an Irish Red Foreman. So when I can think of something nice to give him, I feel like super victorious. But half the time, I just end up getting a fucking gift card, and that's not cool. I mean, dads, if you want like a tool or something, there's always something a dude wants. Always a gadget out there. Always anything. All you got to do is be like, I want the Schrodinger so-and-so this year. How hard is that? Throw us a bone. It is so difficult to shop for dads, especially alpha male dads who don't talk.
Oh my word! Yes, that is so true.
And especially,
I used to feel guilty about the whole gift card kit thing until like after the second year. On the third year, he actually called me up and he said, I just want to request a gift card again this year. I kind of like getting those. It's like, oh my God, finally, I have a gift for my dad that he's not going to just throw away.
It's amazing.
I mean, I went to a store that specializes in Aran clothing. So this Aran woven sweater that was on display. I looked at it and I said, this is perfect for my dad because it's the perfect weight for a Texas winter,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I spent I think it was $350 for this sweater cardigan, right? And I said, this is going to be the best gift ever. And he took it out. I was like, oh, okay, thanks. I was like,
oh, God.
Dad, be a little bit more enthusiastic. I saved up all year for that. But in his defense, that is one gift that he has actually worn almost every winter. And he agrees that at first he was not very grateful for it, but now he really, really is because it's perfect.
That's freaking adorable. My dad's super hard to shop for. He's a retired LEO. So if I can find, and we're Irish, anything I can find that's like themed with cops and Irish stuff, I always just buy that shit up in bulk because that's always the easiest way to get him to be like, oh, that's so cool. So, and then I got a good cop buddy that's on the East Coast who's Irish as well, and he's retired NYPD, and he always gives me the special line on good stuff to give to my old man. But other than that, he's nearly impossible to shop for. It's ridiculous.
It really is difficult to buy for a man, but even more so for a dad.
Oh,
you want it to be so special, and you're like, oh crap.
No, you can never find that one thing that's so special. But
no.
and then they end up turning things around on you and surprising you. Like one year for Christmas, my father, a total alpha male. I'm an alpha male, so our conversations together aren't the greatest. One year for Christmas, he actually made me a scrapbook of like almost every moment of my entire life up to my late 30s. And I just couldn't believe it that he did that himself and made it himself. It was just incredible. So they do have a soft, sentimental side. Don't let them fool you.
Oh no. This is very true. My father, I finally was able to visit them this a couple of weekends ago, and he said, "I have something for you," and I was like, "Oh, okay," because he never says that unless it's like something like dire. I have to take something, within a day to the VA hospital here or something, that kind of thing. And he brings back this box, and in it are some of my grandmother's personal effects. And she passed away in 1999. But, and he had given some of the stuff to my other sister, and she had made a shadow box for my dad, and it's really beautiful. But this is the stuff that she had when she was a high school graduate. I mean, she was still in high school. And inside was the recorder that she used when she was in the band. And there was sheet music, and there was all sorts of stuff. And I was like, wow, where did you find this stuff? He says, oh, I've had it for years. I just kept forgetting to give it to you because I figured you might appreciate it. Her first, I'm not kidding, her first state ID, or, I guess it's a state ID. She never learned to drive, so it was a state ID. It was in there. Her birth certificate, her certificate for teaching, all of this stuff was in there. And I'm going, holy cow. It's like a treasure trove for me,
That's awesome.
So I was very surprised that my dad held on to all of that all these years just so that he could give it to me when I guess the time was right, That
just to show that dads do have that sentimental side. So buy your dads good presents, people. Don't buy them the typical bullshit. Don't call them collect. Call them straight up. Talk to them. They want to talk to you more than you realize. My dad loves when I call. I need to call more. And I live 2 miles down the road for him. So.
Oh, my dad's the same way. My dad loves it when I call, but he can only stay on the phone for a minute. Any more than that, it's just too much. Forget it. It's
exactly. It goes, like, I'll call my dad and I'll be like, hey, what's up? Nothing. What's up with you? Nothing. And then we'll either complain about something that's in the news and then hang up the phone within 5 minutes, or we'll just hang up sooner than that. But the fact is that I called, I guess.
Yeah, he's my dad's a man of very few words.
This was an absolutely beautiful show. I had so much fun tonight. I want to thank Dr. Scott for calling in. Oh, and I've got a special shout out. Do you remember our friend Nolo for Dolo?
Yes.
Well, Nolo, if you go to @Nolo for Dolo on Twitter, he's hosting another cooking contest. And this time, I believe it's going to be a dessert under $10. So if all of you folks like making the desserts and you want to join this contest, go to @Nolo for Dolo, scroll down his feed, and look for the cooking contest tweet and submit your entries. He does this. He's been doing this more and more because, quite honestly, everything that's going on in the world is a total disaster and shit show. So we want to look towards brighter things and happier things. This guy has been hosting contests. I was involved in one of his contests about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Me and my girlfriend were actually judges, and it was awesome. This really is a big morale booster. Please visit him. Look up his page. And if you cook or bake, join the contest. And I got a feeling, Aggie, that you might have a dessert option to submit.
I do. I already have it in my head.
So please go to @Nolo for Dolo. Give them a look up and get involved because it's pretty cool. Life is still pretty cool, folks. The world is still a pretty cool place. We just got to look towards the bright.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm buzzing pretty good and getting kind of hungry, so I guess we should probably cut the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining us tonight. We hope that this was a very educational show for you. It sure as hell was for me.
I'm going to be dreaming about Father's Day gifts tonight.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And where can we find you, Mickey?
You can find me, Mickey Blowtorch, on Twitter at Mickey Blowtorch, just being fucking awesome and a cool guy.
Every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on He Said, She Said. You can find me here on the alternate Tuesdays on A Pod Divided at the same time. And also over on Friday nights with my wonderful producer Lou and our friend Auntie Vodka on Chick Chat starting at 8:30 Eastern.